Well, good morning. It is so wonderful to see everybody here on this Tuesday. It's May 29th, and we are diving into the science of getting rich again here on this Tuesday, as into specifically chapter 7. I'm Alan Vukas, and it's so good to see you here today. And every day, Monday through Friday, I take a little time to contemplate some of the principles of prosperity. So we had started on chapter 7 yesterday, and I wanted to take a few minutes here today to explore a couple of the other ideas that Wallace Wattles writes about in regarding gratitude. So chapters 4, 7, and 11 are what I would call the essential chapters or the milestone chapters of this wonderful book that was written in 1910. And this book, it says on the back, this may be the most important book you ever own. I'll tell you, when I moved out here to Colorado 2 years ago, that there were a couple books that I definitely made sure that I brought with me. There was a whole, I just whatever I could load up in my Honda Element. One of which was The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes, of course, but then also The Science of Getting Rich. That was another one that I made sure that I brought with me. So, but chapter 7, yesterday, as we explored this, I shared with you about how gratitude is really a way by which we can become harmonious, or he uses the word, it is a way for at-one-ment or atonement with that formless substance. Because what we've learned up to this point, say, Kevin, it's so good to see you. And we've turned down the volume. But yesterday what we talked about was that in order for the formless substance to receive the impress of the thought of form that we have in our mind, that's the process that Wallace Wattles talks about. In order to create the life that we would love to live, we need to have a thought of form in our mind, and then that thought is impressed on the formless substance that's all around us. It's in the interspaces that, in fact, as he says here in chapter 7, he said, we are thinking substance, and thinking substance always takes the form of that which it thinks about. So not only are we trying to impress our thoughts onto this formless substance, we are that substance. We are that substance thinking. So gratitude is the process by which we are staying in the flow and that we are harmonious with that substance. But let me share with you a couple things else that he writes in here to take this a little deeper. He says, the moment you permit your mind to dwell with dissatisfaction upon things as they are, you begin to lose ground. You fix attention upon the common, the ordinary, the poor, and the squalid and mean, and your mind will take the form of these things. Then you will transmit these forms or mental images to the formless, and the common, the poor, the squalid, and the mean will come to you. To permit your mind to dwell upon the inferior is to become inferior and to surround yourself with inferior things. So starting with the point, the place where maybe you might not be clearly or have a clear thought of form in your mind to impress upon the substance. When we spend our time looking at what is around us, especially things unwanted, well then our mind takes that on as an impress. We take on that thought and begin to impress the substance with the thought of things that we're observing. This is why gratitude is so vitally important, because gratitude, the creative power within us, makes us into the image of that to which we give our attention, and the grateful mind is constantly fixed upon the best. Therefore, it tends to become the best. It takes the form or character of the best and will receive the best. So I know that what you and I want for our lives and in our lives is the best. And so even though thinking may be the hardest task we're called to do, what we need to challenge ourselves is to look for the best, so that we impress our minds with the best. Look at what is around you and always find what is there to be grateful for. Now, I mentioned yesterday in the video that if we are criticizing, complaining, if we're holding resentments or unforgiveness, that this is like the exact opposite of gratitude. And it can keep us stuck. As he said here, the moments you permit your mind to dwell with dissatisfaction, you begin to lose ground. So if we are criticizing and complaining, then we are losing ground. We are not moving in the direction of the best. So what is it that then we should be grateful for? Well, he says here on page 49, near the bottom, he says, it's necessary then to cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you and to give thanks continuously. Well, this reminds me of the verse in the Bible Paul wrote in, I believe it's in 1 Thessalonians, in all things give thanks. That can be very difficult and very hard. But he says here it's necessary to cultivate the habit of being grateful for every good thing that comes to you. Okay, well, that's a little different than what Paul said. Paul said, in all things give thanks. He says every good thing. Oh, wait, I stopped. He goes on to the next paragraph here. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. It can be a very difficult thing to practice gratitude in all things. What about those things that may seem unwanted? How do we give gratitude with that? How do we give gratitude in that? Well, let me give you an example of how we, sometimes in gratitude, we need to move through faith. It was just a little over 30 days ago that my landlord, who had up till that point, till the end of April, had told me that she would give me 2 or 3 months whenever, if ever, she was going to sell her house in order for me to, I was renting at the time, and that she said that she would give me 2 or 3 months, not a problem, I'm not selling, and you won't have any trouble having to move everything that you needed to move. Here, 2 men, 3 cats, and a dog, right? And all of our stuff. Well, what showed up at the end of April, the last Saturday of April, was her actually giving me a 30-day notice to move out. Now, in that moment, I will tell you, and I was already diving into these prosperity principles, but even diving in and contemplating what Wallace Wattles was talking about in his book in preparation for the class that I'm teaching at New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living. How can I be grateful for someone telling me something different now? Well, let me explain what happened. I knew that there is something else that was working out. And as a result of that, then I trusted the process. And that morning, when the landlord told me that I needed to get out, my partner Kevin and I, we did what it is that we needed to do. And I contacted my realtor, and actually I contacted realtors saying, we need to rent, we need to move. But there was a little part of me that said, there is something that is being worked out. This is what it looks like while it's working out. And that afternoon, my realtor had called and said, hey, you may want to take a look at this place. I said, hey, no, we're just looking to rent. Well, this is for sale, but come take a look anyway. And I thought, what would it hurt? Because our good is looking for us. The house we're looking for is looking for us. And if I don't go, how would I know? Well, that evening at 5:30, we took a look at this house, and we came and took a look. And in less than 90 minutes later, 2 hours later, we were on the phone with the mortgage broker. We got pre-approved. And that evening, we submitted an offer. And less than 12 hours after that, the offer had been countered, received, accepted, and here we are. And we moved into this house 28 days later, less than the 30-day notice that my landlord gave me. And here I thought that it wouldn't work out. Why should we be grateful for the things that even look like unwanted? Because that is part of the process by which our good is working out. Wallace Waddell shares in his book, he says, "Do not waste your time thinking or talking about the shortcomings or wrong actions of plutocrats or trust magnates. Their organization of the world has made your opportunity. All you get really comes to you because of them. Do not rage against corrupt politicians. If it were not for politicians, we should fall into anarchy, and your opportunity would be greatly lessened. God has worked a long time and very patiently to bring us up to where we are in industry and government, and He's going right on with this work. There is not the least doubt that He will do away with the plutocrats, the trust magnates, the captains of industry, and politicians as soon as they can be spared. But in the meantime, behold, they are all very good. Remember that they are all helping to arrange the lines of transmission among which your riches will come to you, and be grateful to them all. This will bring you into harmonious relations with the good in everything, and the good in everything will move toward you. Here today, when you're facing things wanted and even unwanted, the challenges for us is for to be grateful. Not grateful for things unwanted, but grateful that God, Spirit, Source, has got this and is moving you into your next experience. And without what you're currently facing, without the notice from my landlord, get out in 30 days, I would have had no impulse to go look at this home. And this is a home now for Kevin and I. I would have not have had any impulse to go look at where Spirit was going to move us 28 days later. Giving thanks for all things isn't saying I'm thankful for stuff I don't like, but I'm thankful and grateful that Spirit is continuing to move me and to move all things in the direction of my highest good and the highest good for all involved. So I'd like to anchor that in prayer for you today. As we move within what I recognize and know that there is only that one life, that one mind, that one divine presence, that one thinking substance that is showing up here in me, through me, as me, and in and through and as you. We are that thinking substance. We are the hands and the feet and the eyes and the ears of God here on the physical plane. And because what I know this to be true, I know that there's no separation between that power and us, then what I know to be true about that power is that it knows what to do, and it is working it out. And that knowledge, that wisdom, that guidance, that direction is present right here within me and within you. And knowing that that process is being worked out, knowing that there are no mistakes, that there is only right action, then what I accept right here and now is that anything that is unlike my good, there's no law to support that. The law of cause and effect supports highest good and right action in all of our affairs. And so I declare a no for us, that our eyes and our hearts and our minds are open to the guidance and the direction. And the trust and the faith and the wisdom is right here where you are and where I am. And that is what carries us through, even in the face of unwanted things. Because Spirit has got this. And so the unwanted will fade away into our good and highest good. That is what's en route to us right here this day. So I know this is the truth for you and for me, and I look forward to seeing your upcoming video. As we are grateful today, we are in all things be grateful, because we know that this is how Spirit is working it out. And Christmas is right around the corner. That's a metaphor. The gifts are on their way. And let us be mindful of that rather than what looks like isn't working. I hope you have a wonderful day today. I know you will. I'm grateful for the wonderful day that you and I are both going to have. Today is our best day ever. Peace and love. Namaste.